Ugh, this paperwork. Why does this hurt so much? Well, come in. Ah, assistant. I see you brought my coffee. Yeah, your favorite. Thanks. I'm not gonna get this work done. Can I help you with the work? Sure. And besides, I needed to speak to you anyways. Yeah, sure. What do you want to speak to me about as we do this? I want to know, how does the rainbow be made? Like, seriously. How does the rainbow be made? What? You're serious? Yeah. Well, basically, as I'm doing my work now, I guess I can tell you. Is there any questions you need? Do you got a crush on someone? Oh, a crush? I, uh, uh, that's really hard to ask. What came up with you with that? Sorry if I sounded weirded out. I'm just asking. Don't ask me that question again. Right now I gotta finish this. And I should be almost done with this. Now you're saying about how the rainbow's being made here. Yes. Done. You want to know about the rainbows being made here? I was supposed to tell you that before you started working here. But I guess I can tell you. When I first worked here, when I first got here, the manager before me told me everything. Before I got a prosthetic. You see, the way I was told was this. Now, I'm going to tell you everything on how the rainbow's being made here. You see, a long time ago, the neighborhood was dangerous, colorless, and criminalless. The criminals that roam around the neighborhood, they hide, destroy, kill, and destroy everything. The mayor of the town had enough of it. They couldn't get hold of prison because of their releases. They never have a second chance to change their ways. And he realized some did and some didn't. So he hired me to be the manager of the Rainbow Factory. He said that this will be a secret facility high up in the mountains where no one can see. That's where he hired me. Because I was the most dangerous one of all. The reason why criminals were so scared of me. Because I have a backstory to it myself. So, I agreed. After years went by after the factory was done being made, the people who lost family members and friends worked here. Some Some of the people down below wanted to work here because they needed a job and keep themselves busy and didn't want to see the world anymore because they were miserable and depressed. Some ran away from their families. Some rejected being with their families. So they decided to work with us. Now, let me tell you everything about the machine. Once the criminals come, they got two decisions to make. They can work here. They can work here for how long they were sentenced here, or they can go back down and stay in prison. And once their sentences are done, they'll be released back and give a second chance. They only give a second chance. If they didn't give a second chance, those who got second chances changed their ways. Those who didn't will be sent here again. Comparing on the records, they will be judged by the three judges that work here in the factory. They'll be judged. They can either be an experiment or be sentenced to death. If they become an experiment, they have a number. Once that number is being called out, there will be the next experiment to test on the spectra. But those who sentenced to death, the machine draws their blood as they feel pain and agony. They'll be thrown into the grinder and turned into spectra. As the blood runs through the machine, whatever type of blood of color they have in the blood they run through their veins, it will go to the machine, turn into a color, and we test on the spectra to see if it's good or not. If it's good, it will be sent to the Pegasus device, combine the colors together, and creates the perfect rainbow. Now, for the test subjects, if the spectra isn't like the spectra that turns into rainbow, we gotta make sure it's perfectly right before it goes into the rainbow. Like the colors, like pink 21791, that end up infecting the whole entire neighborhood with lovesick potion. So we had to experiment on colors that came out wrong. Colors that are not a part of the rainbow that we make. We test them here on our subject to see if it's good enough. Like blue 29F1. 29F1 was a rare color. It was a maroon color. But that ended up turning a subject into some kind of animal. It turns him into what animal? Like, say like this, to make it more specific. If the subject touches an animal, they'll turn mixed up with human DNA and the animal's DNA. They'll mix up and merge with that animal. Like, there was a lot of colors that were rare that popped out of the criminals we got. That's how we end up creating our perfect rainbows. And someday you'll run the factory, and you will be the next face of the future. Now, before I move on, I got to warn you. Here in the factory, we do tests on subjects and spectra, but we do tests on newer projects. We don't just make rainbows. we make something down in the neighborhood to help those in need. Like if they're missing an arm or a leg, we test on the experiments that we created before they will be sent out into the neighborhood. That's why it becomes the most peaceful and happy city. And we must keep it that way. We'll find the victims that killed your family. I promise you that. Will I ever be helping those down there? Yes, my darling. I'll teach you everything. Now, since you know how the rainbows are made, I'll teach you the skills that my father taught before me. Whoa, that must be intense. Yes, and the victims I caught were not even enough. I get sick by seeing these people killing the innocent. I even pushed one into the grinder. That's why a lot of criminals who did their savage ways push a lot of my men into the grinder. Everyone here is scared of me due to my backstory and the way I become. A monster that hides in the shadow will once again see the light of day. I get sick looking at them. So you're saying they only give a second chance, but those who don't change their ways will be sent here to die? It compares with their achievement. It has to combine with the records. If it was not that bad, they'll be turned into experiments. But those who did worse will die and never get to see the light of day again. Thank you for telling me. It seems like we're done with the work. Anyways, you should probably get back to your post and finish up the papers. Once you're done, send them to me so I can start working on them. Oh, and tell Luz to come and fix my door again. I broke it down. Again? Yes. She's going to be pissed at me. Okay, I will. Thank you, boss, for telling me everything. You're welcome. It seems like you're angry. Do you really have to tell him that whole story? I have to. It's my job to tell the assistant. Not many assistants made it this far. I'm surprised. But he's your friend. I know. But something's telling me that I don't trust anyone now. And that would be it. I hope y'all guys like it. And I hope y'all like and that subscribe button. And happy good evening, my little pups. Don't get burned by the sun.